All right, so this is a suggestion via a donation. The name of the video is Beware the Phaser's Maximum Setting. Guys, this is coming from the channel. Because science. Science. I like science. Guys, what do you mean? Let's go immediately.
Real vaporization is so much worse than science fiction shows.
Vaporization?
Everything in our best science fiction is more advanced, from the ships to the computers to the weaponry. But it's not just the weaponry itself that is advanced, it's the way that they dispatch enemies that is so futuristic. The most powerful sci-fi weapons can vaporize targets.
Bro, we talking about Star Trek right now?
Reducing them to nothing but a flash of light and a puff of smoke. But almost no science fiction in media has shown you just how terrible and horrendous vaporizing someone would actually be. So, let's do it. That's my directive.
Guys, I like the Prime Directive. I love the reference. Definitely Star Trek. Here's the thing, though. I definitely like the idea of someone attempting to break down some of the things that we've all known and love in absolutely amazingly iconic, sci-fi related shows, guys. I love the idea of it. Let's go. But yeah, it would be worse in real life than they're really.
Sci-fi weapons that vaporize or disintegrate matter have been around since the concept was introduced 120 years ago by the book Edison's Conquest of Mars. Since then, movies like Mars Attacks have put their own spin on the idea, and TV shows like Star Trek have been vaping for decades. Sick. There are many variations, but if these weapons are actually vaporizing people, we've never seen a popular depiction that is scientifically accurate. Real vaporization would look very different, by which I mean super gross.
Yeah, like if that was to happen, I mean, obviously everything you are would be basically gone and it would be all over everyone else that was in the room. I think if that was the reality, unless the maximum setting had the ability to like dual, maybe had magic or something. Basically, you need to have some type of magic that, like some inexplicable magic that would remove all of the absolute human, let's say, from your body in the room immediately. Because other than that, you're basically painting the whole room red, guys.
First of all, since terms are very important here, when a sci-fi weapon is said to vaporize a target and not disintegrate it or otherwise disassemble it, what does that mean? Computer, phaser, green. No, red. No, green. Okay, I'm done. Well, like we've said on this program before, what it means to vaporize something is right there in the name. It's adding enough energy to matter to change it into a gas from what it was, or vapor. Computer, Earl Grey. It's the same essential process as using this phaser to heat up this mug of tea until the water inside boils and then turns into steam.
Okay, so I'm guessing we're probably most likely going to go over one of the 4 laws of thermodynamics, guys. Most likely entropy, based off of this imagery. So let's continue.
It's hot. The simplest interpretation, then, of what a vaporizing weapon does to something or someone is put enough energy into that something or someone to turn all of its liquid and solid constituents into gas or vapor. Computer, on screen. On screen. This is about changing the phaser color.
I've never seen this channel before, guys.
There are 4 elements that make up the majority of your mass. Oxygen, for example, makes up 65% of your body's mass, but it's almost always found in conjunction with hydrogen in the form of water. The majority of your body's mass, therefore, is a single molecule. So instead of calculating all of the complicated ways that all of the chemicals in your body, no matter how much there are of them, vaporize in different energies and let's just say that a vaporizing weapon will be effective if it turns all of your water in your body, into steam. Whose flute is that? Being the good science officers that we are and using a little bit of thermodynamics, we can exactly calculate how much energy it would take to turn
joules to Kelvin, I'm guessing. Where's the Kelvin?
all of someone's water into steam. Using my body's mass as an example and the fraction of it that is water, the total amount of energy it would take to take all of my water from body temperature to boiling and then to steam is 130 million joules, which is a lot. That is more energy than a surprise lightsaber puts out in 4 seconds, and this thing could easily just cut through this hull. Wow.
So will the phaser, basically, by the sound of it. Like, bro, if you missed a shot, Like, if you missed your target, like, is there auto aim on these phasers at maximum setting? There better be. All right, there better be. Okay, so go ahead and point this out because you are obliterating things.
Certain by now, it probably would have. Oh! A weapon flinging around this kind of energy would be dangerous enough, but it's what this energy actually does that's the worst part. When water turns into steam, there is a dramatic increase in volume, and if that increase occurs very rapidly, steam expansion can pack a serious punch. Computer, show the videos.
Bro, I wish I had whatever technology that is you're talking to.
Fine. Watch what happens when guy with a bad idea throws a bottle of water into a vat of molten metal. Yeah, it causes an explosion that would have messed up the Terminator. Now watch what happens when you pour just a tiny bit of water into boiling oil. The steam expansion throws the burning oil everywhere, and it can be incredibly dangerous. And watch how quickly steam shoots out of this volcanic vent when cold water is poured down it. There is a lot of destructive power here, and again, like good science officers, we can calculate exactly how much. You cannot sneak up on me like that.
That was you.
I stored a happier version of myself in here.
Okay.
A while ago.
Right.
As water gains more and more energy, the molecules that make it up move further and further apart until a gas better describes it. And if we assume that that steam is an ideal gas, which isn't a bad assumption, then we can use the so-called ideal gas law here to calculate just how big it will be after it turns into steam compared to the water it was before. For example, let's take 100 cubic centimeters of water and heat it up until it turns into steam. If we now let this steam expand so that it matches atmospheric pressure around it, it will act to fill 170 liters or 45 gallons of space. That is a 1,700-fold increase. And remember, this is just 1/10 of a kilogram of water. Humans have hundreds of times more water than this in their bodies, which means things are about to
things will get crazy.
A lot worse.
Super spicy, guys. Super spicy.
All these corridors look the same. Where am I?
You got to follow because all of the corridors are actually the same. That's the reason why, bro. But that's not the point here. All right, follow the signs.
Sure, if you actually vaporized a person with a sci-fi weapon like a phaser, the result wouldn't be neat and tidy like we always see. It would look more like this. Hey Kyle, get in here. Set my phaser to realistic.
Realistic.
And ready?
I just love living
Fire! Yeah, we probably should have simulated that.
You did.
Oh, he loved this flute. A real vaporization would be horribly violent and incredibly messy. Turning all of a person's water into steam is the equivalent of asking all of that water to instantaneously expand and fill the volume of a blue whale. Literally. Even worse, if you were the one doing the vaporizing, the pressure wave from this expansion would at least rupture your eardrums and at most kill you on the spot. It would be like popping a balloon filled with 10 times the pressure of a scuba tank in your face. Real vaporization wouldn't just be terrible news for targets, it's inefficient and dangerous overkill for the vaporizer. Come on. Well, I'm done talking now. It doesn't Cool. How many holodecks do we have? Vaporizing someone is really going...
Generally one, if we go off of specifically Voyager's ship, at least, right? If we go off of that, then you have one holodeck, and you have a specific amount of time you can actually use to be inside of said holodeck. All right.
Going all in on destruction. Now, in most of the situations where you see someone vaporize another person in science fiction, I would guess that a simple pistol bullet or a bolt from a trusty laser rifle would do the job just fine. The kinetic energy of something like a 9mm bullet is around 500 joules, and a good blaster bolt, if you're doing some estimating, might be around 3,000 joules. This makes a vaporizing weapon's 100 million joule output somewhere between 43 and 260,000 times more powerful than it needs to be. Vaporizing people is...
Bro, it's supposed to be overdone, so we make sure, right, that the target, like maybe the Suliban specifically, right, like they're not going to stand back up, my guy. Right, they're done. That's the point of it.
Then like swatting a fly with a tank instead of a fly swatter.
I would always suggest that, okay? You want to make sure the target is absolutely not coming back. But, make sure when you do set your phaser to maximum, at least, you are a gigantic distance away. You are not in an enclosed area, preferably also not in a spaceship, because that's a little ridiculous. Don't miss that shot.
So much walking. That is a lot of extra energy to invest into a weapon system that is potentially so dangerous. Not only could the steam explosion from a vaporization instantly kill the person doing the vaporizing, it might destroy the very ship that both are standing on. A spaceship doesn't regularly have to move through an atmosphere, nor does it have to endure thrashing seas like boats on Earth do. And so a more realistic spaceship is probably going to be pretty fragile.
I didn't think of that at all. Yeah, so yeah, definitely, bro, don't miss that shot. All right, and don't even be surprised if when you hit the target on maximum settings, that in itself would be enough to rupture the outside of the craft. Because he's right? You don't have to. It's not going to be sitting in any type of like crazy atmosphere, guys. So why would the ship itself need to be built, to be excessively heavy or thick or thickly shielded from the outside for the most part? Right? Why would it need to be? He's right. Bro, that's genius.
By Earth standards, meant to only hold 1 atmosphere of air pressure.
Okay.
Vaporize a person on a vessel like this, and the localized pressure is going to balloon to 1,700 atmospheres. 50% more pressure than you find at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. So if this happens on board,
and yeah, guys, don't go down to the Mariana Trench. You're not going to make it.
Could blow out a section of hull and doom the entire ship.
Mirror me!
Well, that's that.
Oh, good thing we have a couple of these ships. If everything that I've said so far isn't bad enough, there's what a real vaporization would look like. Now, up until now, we have been considering a perfect and complete vaporization of all a person's water. But in reality, if you had a weapon that could put out that much energy and you directed it at a person, that person's water wouldn't uniformly turn into steam, nor would it happen all at once. In reality, those neat and tidy Star Trek-style vaporizations are gonna look more like this, like lightning blowing up a tree. Now just imagine seeing this in your science fiction, except it's bigger, louder, and with more people chunks.
Yeah.
And all of this out of such an unassuming weapon. So, why is vaporization so much worse than sci-fi shows? Well, even though terms are sometimes used as technobabble, terms like vaporize have real meaning. And if you apply that to a person, it makes things real bad. At best, you get a deadly mess, and at worst, this very common sci-fi trope would destroy the ships that the vaporizers themselves are often trying to save. These weapons do make lightsabers look civilized, and that's not easy, because science. Computer, roll credits. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Whoa. Because science. I love science, right? I love physics, generally. I love speaking about physics. I love speaking about history also. I like all these type of topics, guys, absolutely. And I'm also an absolute sci-fi nerd. Yep. Now, every time I saw, how about this here? When I do, let me rephrase all of these things, these statements here. When I do watch sci-fi, I watch it to escape reality for the most part. I like things that are, for the most part, somewhat rooted in reality, but like the logical extreme of our reality, at least, in terms of science. I love talking about these things. So I never actually try to kind of, make it, I never try to make it real in my head. I just think that it's a fantasy, guys, right? I definitely would seriously hope that we never build anything like that, that has the ability to do any type of vaporization, guys. I mean, we would have to dual stage it. The first time would have to be, and the reason why so much joules would basically be required to actually produce something like this, would be it needs to just completely obliterate something, let's say. But we also need some type of magic. All right. I don't know what we're going to do with this. Maybe our brains are not just capable of creating it yet, but we need something that could also kind of mitigate the the secondary effects of said vaporization, at least. Right? That's what we would need. Period. But all right, listen, guys, send me more. I love science. I mean that. Anything physics oriented, just let's go. Okay? But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.
This is my lightsaber. Hey guys, you guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.